Now, this verse actually takes us to a different level of the pastime narration. So far, what was described, if you recollect, it was all just the story. One day, when Mother Yashoda saw that all maid servants were engaged in other household affairs, she personally began to churn yogurt, etc. So, what all happened? She was churning yogurt, and Krishna was sleeping, but suddenly he woke up before she could finish churning the butter. And then he came and he wanted to drink his mother's milk, breast milk. So Mother Yashoda, out of love for her child, she stopped, even though she had not finished. She took the child on her lap and began to feed him very nicely, her breast milk. But suddenly she realized, you heard this whole thing, I don't have to repeat. So the story goes on till the 8th verse. But 9th verse, Shukadeva Goswami is telling something very important, because he is addressing those sages who are sitting and listening. He can't just tell the story and leave it like that. He has to explain why is he telling this story to Parikshit Maharaj and all the saintly persons who are all serious practitioners of spiritual life. They're all very, very, very serious practitioners. They're not ordinary people. The greatest of the Brahmarishis, Devarishis, Rajarishis, Arunodayas. And of course, Parikshit Maharaj is both Rajarshi and is also pure devotee. All of them have assembled to hear from Shukadeva Goswami. And so far, till the 9th canto, even though Shukadeva Goswami has described different pastimes of the Supreme Lord's various incarnations and his pure devotees, he is always beginning and in the middle and the end describing the absolute truth. He is always describing the absolute truth, because the whole Bhagavatam is about the absolute truth. It's about the absolute truth. It's about the ultimate reality. Because it is the commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta means the conclusion of the Vedas, which explains what is the absolute truth, what is the ultimate reality, or who is God, or what is God. Now here, in this Krishna Leela, because Parikshit, he asked, tell me some details about the incarnation of the absolute, supreme absolute truth is Krishna. And he is directly asking questions in the beginning itself. I've heard that he killed his uncle. Why did he kill his uncle? Killing maternal uncle is very, very, very sinful. So, like that, Parikshit Maharaj wanted to know in great detail Krishna's pastimes. And Shukadeva Goswami, because the incarnation of Krishna is very, very, very special as compared to any other incarnation. Because in this incarnation, the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, reveals himself. He reveals his feature as the personality of Godhead. But that personality of Godhead is not just present as God, but he is present as a small child of a loving mother. He is present as a cowherd boy who is a friend of other cowherd boys. All these details, 90 chapters in the 10th canto, and detailed descriptions. So here is a detailed description that Shukadeva Goswami is doing, the description of Krishna's childhood activities. Childhood activities. Only childhood activities are described in the Vrindavan Leela section. Because as soon as he came of age, just reaching the youthful stage, not yet become a youth, say about 13 years old, he went away to Mathura. And after that, he never returned. So Vrindavan Leela is till he is 13 years old. And after that, Mathura Leela begins, youthful stage, and then he grows up. And when he is of marriageable age, he marries. Before that, because as a prince, he performed his Leela in Mathura. And then when he is ready, grown up, then he establishes his kingdom, Dwaraka. Because Mathura was being ruled by Ugrasena. And Ugrasena had a son by name Kamsa. And Kamsa was a demoniac nature. Ugrasena is divine nature. Ugrasena's daughter Devaki is also divine nature. Both are devotees. Kamsa is demon. Again, this is difficult to understand that in the family of devotees, a demon suddenly appears. It is very rare, extremely rare. Because other than Kamsa, in that family, nobody else was a demon. Nobody was a demon. Prahlad Maharaj, devotee, pure devotee, not just a devotee, he appeared as the son of Hiranyakashipu, the biggest demon, the most powerful demon, terrorist demon. Not just a demon, terrorist demon. And Hiranyakashipu was simply, except for Prahlad's mother, Kayadhu, she was a devotee. But other than her, nobody else is a devotee in that family. Or the associates of Hiranyakashipu. Nobody except Kayadhu. So, Prahlad and his mother, two devotees. And everybody else is demon. And here, this Mathura, Ugrasena, and all the others. See, it's the Yadu dynasty. Yadu dynasty means great King Yadu was a great devotee. Krishna appeared in that dynasty. Devotee, great devotee, Yadu Maharaj. So, great devotees, all great devotees, except one Kamsa. Born as the son of Ugrasena, but demoniac nature. So, therefore, this Bhagavatam is very special. Now that supreme absolute truth as Krishna is very, very mystical. This personality of Krishna is very mystical. Because here, Shukadeva Goswami has already described that to Parikshit Maharaj, you have only 7 days time. You don't have much time to prepare for death for the sake of achieving ultimate salvation, ultimate liberation. So, Parikshit was concerned that 7 days is very short time. And before Shukadeva Goswami arrived in that assembly, Parikshit Maharaj already was inquiring from the assembled saintly persons that what should I do? What is my duty? Not to prepare myself for facing death and achieving the ultimate perfection of human form of life. So they all began to discuss among themselves, and there no conclusion of that discussion. What should he do? Different kinds of saintly persons may suggest different methods, but 7 days is very short time for all the methods they were suggesting. So till Shukadeva Goswami arrived, there was no definite direction for Parikshit Maharaj from the saintly persons. Actually, it is very clear if you carefully read the first canto, 19th chapter. Parikshit Maharaj retired from all the activities after he was cursed, even though he was young. But he wanted to prepare for death. He didn't want to counteract that curse, and he wanted to prepare, on the other hand, for facing death. Death is certain. He decided that he is going to prepare for death. And what did he decide to do to prepare for death? He went to a holy place where there were saintly persons. And out of his humility, even though he knew what he should do, where is the indication in the first canto? He knew what he should do. Because it is said, he offered his respects to all the saintly persons in that place. And he had already decided to fast. So he was sitting in a proper place. And he decided to fast. But that fasting is for performing some spiritual activity with full concentration on the activity, spiritual activity. It was only 7 days' time. But when the saintly person did not give him any definite answer, what he should do, out of humility he asked them. He knew what he should do. Why? Because when they did not give him proper answer, he said, now all of you kindly sing the glories of Vishnu and let me become completely absorbed in thought of those, hearing those glories. And in that way, let me quit my body. Already it is there. In the first canto, 19th chapter, it is there. Carefully read, you will note this. And then Shukadeva Goswami arrived. After this conversation happened. So Shukadeva Goswami arrived. Shukadeva Goswami is a different kind of transcendentalist compared to all others. He is just 16 years old. He is not any recognized Brahmarshi, Devarshi, Rajarshi, Arunodaya, nothing. He is no recognized position among the transcendentalists. Very few people know him as a great transcendentalist. Because he was walking around naked. Avadhuta. Such transcendentalists who don't follow conventional etiquette in society, they're called avadhutas. So he is a avadhuta. Means he is absorbed completely in meditation on the Supreme Lord, and he is not bothered about any formality. So, common people there think he's a madman. Because simply roaming around, not dressed, not caring for anything, anybody. If somebody teases him, he does not retaliate. He'll just be walking. Somebody will throw stones at him, somebody will laugh at him, somebody will pull his hair. Whatever they do, he is unaffected. Right? What kind of person is he? Why is he walking naked? Then, my point is to recognize him as a serious transcendentalist. Very, very difficult. So, Parikshit's question is to this, the sages Naimisharya, their question is to Suta Goswami that how did Parikshit recognize Shukadeva Goswami? How did he recognize him? Now that is true not only for Parikshit, that's true for all the assembled saintly persons. So what happened when Shukadeva Goswami entered that assembly? Of course, when he just walked directly inside, the saintly persons who were sitting there and discussing very serious subject matter, what should Parikshit do? Correct? And it's a very serious assembly. Into that assembly he's walking naked. So, all the saintly persons stopped what they were doing and started looking at him. Who is he? So suddenly, some of them stood up with great respect to receive him very respectfully. Then all the others understood, oh, he's a great transcendentalist. He's Avaduta. So everybody else stood up. Except for Vyasadeva, Parshurama, Narada, and few others who are actually already achieved perfection. They are perfected their spiritual life. And they are already situated on the platform of perfection. So except for them, everybody else stood up. And then Parikshit went and received him respectfully, offered him a seat of honor and began to worship him. So Parikshit has recognized him, and the initial few who stood up, it is described in the Bhagavatam by Vyasadeva himself, who is compiling the Bhagavatam, that few of them could understand by simply looking at the face. You know, you would have heard, there are some people who can don't have to study your horoscope to tell about your future or your personality, your whole Jataka. They can simply read your face. Face readers, they're called. You've heard of this? Face readers? There are people, astrologers called face readers. There are astrologers who can do reading of your palm. Palmis, they're called palmis. Okay? Like that. So, this among the transcendentals assembled there were these perfect people who could foresee that. Of course, most of them assembled because Parikshit had decided the emperor of the world has untimely given up his kingdom, renounced his kingdom, and come to this holy place to prepare himself to practice spiritual life. So, these saintly persons, they thought this is an extraordinary event happening all over the universe. This is taken note of. Extraordinary event that Parikshit Maharaj, the emperor of the world, has retired untimely. The news spread immediately all over the universe. The news spread that the emperor at a very young age has given up his kingdom. Even if the emperor is a Rajarshi, he will rule till sufficient number of years he has ruled. And then towards the end of his life, he will actually hand over the charge to his successor, his son or whatever. And then he will go. That is the description in the first 9 cantos, except for Bharat Maharaj, son of Rishabdev. Except him, all others have described that at the proper time they actually retired and went away to practice spiritual life, etc. But here, Parikshit Maharaj has returned untimely, so it is spread everywhere. So they've all assembled. What is he going to do? So, but few of them knew that Shukdev Goswami is going to speak Bhagavatam. So few of them have come for hearing Bhagavatam. They come to hear Bhagavatam. They are the ones who stood up when Shukdev Goswami entered. They knew Shukdev Goswami is going to come. They are called Trikalagnya. They know the past, present and future. So, they know Shukdev Goswami is going to speak Bhagavatam and they come to hear Bhagavatam. Not that they are required to hear Bhagavatam. They take pleasure in hearing Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is such a scripture. It is good for the neophytes, those who are preparing for practicing spiritual life for achieving perfection. Those who are already experienced practitioners but have advanced but not reached the perfection. For such people, also Bhagavatam is the most suitable scripture. And for those who already achieved perfection, they don't require to hear Bhagavatam for achieving perfection, for practicing spiritual life. No. But they take pleasure in hearing Bhagavatam. They take pleasure in hearing Bhagavatam. It is something you can keep on hearing again and again. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. That's why Bhagavatam itself it is said. You can keep on hearing Bhagavatam again and again and again. Muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavaka. Muhu means keep hearing again and again and again. Relish this Bhagavatam. By hearing the wonderful description of the Bhagavatas, the pure devotees and the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan himself, their activities, their pastime, their leela, their description, their glorification. So Bhagavatam is such a literature. Therefore, these few people have come to hear Bhagavatam. So they stood up. So everybody else stood up. And then Parikshit went and received him. So Parikshit knows who is this person. And before that, Parikshit had given a hint. I know what I am supposed to do. I am desiring to hear the glories of Vishnu. And Shukdev Goswami has come for that purpose only. So it is described in the Bhagavatam, Shukdev Goswami was the recognized topmost transcendentalist of his time. Therefore, the whole assembly got rearranged. What's the rearrangement? Parikshit offered a seat of honor. All the saintly persons then turned towards, they were earlier, Parikshit was sitting, preparing for his quitting the body, and he had properly sit in a proper asana, fasting, and then he conveyed that decision to all the saintly persons. With humility he asked, what should I do? They could not answer. Then he said, okay, you all sing the glories of Vishnu, let me hear that. And everybody is now preparing, right? Parikshit himself is telling, because they can't decide, tell him what he should do. He's telling, okay, you all sing the glories of Vishnu. So they will now start reciting the glories of Vishnu, the ones who are accomplished in that. By the time Shukdev Goswami arrives, immediately before they can even start, and then the whole assembly, Parikshit himself has gone to receive him. So they all turned towards Shukdev Goswami. And Shukdev Goswami was being followed by some urchins, throwing stones, laughing, doing all kinds of mischief. When all these saintly persons became seriously, the whole assembly got arranged like that, all the others simply ran away from that place. Oh, he's not a madman, he's not an ordinary person. He's a great sadhu. So they all ran away and everything became grave and silent. And then Parikshit Maharaj began to speak. He knows who is Shukdev Goswami. He knows what he has to do. So Parikshit is not asking questions because he is unaware. He is actually enlightened, perfect, pure devotee. So he was made to ask questions so that Shukadeva Goswami can describe the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, can speak the Bhagavatam. Like Arjuna was made to ask questions by Krishna, so that Krishna can speak Bhagavad Gita for us, not for Arjuna. This the Acharyas clarify. Similarly, Parikshit is asking questions on our behalf, because we don't know how to ask questions, like the way Parikshit asked. So, Shukadeva Goswami is describing Bhagavatam. Okay. Now, when it comes to Krishna Leela, Parikshit has asked, tell me the details of Krishna Leela. Why did he kill his uncle? So, to describe why he killed his uncle, the whole background has to be given. No? Who is Kamsa? His uncle. His uncle is Kamsa. He is a demon. Okay. How is he a demon? He is born of a devotee? Family of devotees. Dynasty of devotees. How come he appeared in dynasty of devotees? This Kamsa. So, all that is given in this 10th canto. So many details are there in the 10th canto. Because it's a mystery. It's a mystery. Everything in the 10th canto is mysterious. How Krishna as a small child can suck out the life air of Putana. Instead of Krishna getting killed, Putana got killed. Putana came to kill all the babies and also came to kill Krishna. So she has smeared her breast with deadly poison. Simply the child touches the nipples of the breast, immediately the child is finished. She has come disguised, of course, so nobody will recognize her. But Krishna sucked out her life air. That also nobody could make out. He has sucked out her life air. Somehow she has come to feed the child, and suddenly she is telling, Krishna was holding on to her very, very tightly, and then she is trying to free herself from Krishna's grip. And then she is crying and going away, running away from Mother Yashoda's house. And before she could go away from the village of Vrindavan, in the forest, she fell down and she died. So nobody is able to understand what happened. Nanda Maharaj is returning after paying taxes, and he said, suddenly one huge form, 12 miles, some demoness, has fallen down, dead. Hey, what's this? Who is she? What is this? What has happened? And Nanda Maharaj had heard some witch is killing so many children. That's why he had posted some guards in his house. He had posted some guards. The guards could not recognize Putana as a demoness because she had come disguised like Lakshmi. She looked like Lakshmi. So these are all the mysteries of Krishna Leela. And every single mystery, actually, Shukadeva Goswami has explained. Very patiently he is explaining. Because 90 chapters, practically, I would say half of the Bhagavatam is this. If not half, 1/3, something like that. The major portion of Bhagavatam is this. So here, the description is that the Krishna is the absolute truth. Already it is established in the previous pastimes. He sucked out the life air of Putana. Trinavarta fell down dead, though he tried to carry away the child. He come as a whirlwind, it's a very powerful demon. And Shakatasura and all this, which are the songs she was singing, glorifying Krishna's Leela. Krishna's Leela of, what is that described here, Prabhupada? Agasura, Putana, Shakatasura, Trinavarta, all this she's singing, the glories. See, Yogamaya is working in such a way that actually Yashoda is a devotee. She knows Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But while participating in Krishna Leela, she is forgetful of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the same time, she is singing Krishna's glories. The killing of Putana, the killing of Agasura, she is singing those. While she is singing, obviously she knows who is Krishna. Because the song itself describes that a small child killed a big demoness or big demon. That's the description. Shukadeva Goswami also describing that. Krishna killed Trinavarta. Shukadeva Goswami is not telling somehow the demon died. No, he is not telling that. He is telling Krishna killed. How did Krishna kill? That was also being described. He sucked out the life air of Putana. He became very heavy in the hands of Trinavarta. So, the whole of the 10th canto describes Krishna, the absolute truth, as the personality of God. Of course, that's there in the previous cantos also. But in the previous cantos, directly the incarnation has appeared for a purpose of protecting the devotees, killing the demons, re-establishing religious principles, all the three things. But Krishna, as a small child, he's secretly born. Only Vasudeva and Devaki know the Supreme Lord has appeared as a small baby. That's all. Nobody else knows. Narada knows. But nobody else knows. So, this mystery of Krishna's appearance, then Vasudeva trying to hide the baby Krishna because his first 6 children were killed by Kamsa. So he's exchanging that baby which is born of Yashoda. That also secretly is doing. Like this, all the secrets are explained systematically by Shukadeva Goswami on the request of Parikshit Maharaj. So here he is telling, I'll finish with this last part, that when Krishna saw his mother stick in hand, he very quickly got down from the top of mountain and began to run away as if very much afraid. Because already Shukadeva Goswami described Krishna as Supreme Personality of God. So why should he be afraid of Mother Yashoda? Why should he be afraid? Nowhere earlier, the description, Krishna was afraid. He's not afraid of any demon. So why is he afraid of Mother Yashoda? And after all, who is Mother Yashoda? She is not posing as a demon. She is not a demoness. She is a devotee. And she loves Krishna so much. So why should a child be afraid of the mother when the mother loves the child so much? Why is? Because she is holding a stick in her hand. Which means that before that she never had displayed a stick in her hand and later suddenly, no my dear child, I don't want to beat you. No, never she has done that. So first time Krishna is seeing mother holding a stick. And he's just growing up. So he became very afraid. Mother is going to beat me now. So he's running away. So why is Krishna afraid of Mother Yashoda? And Mother Yashoda is a loving mother. Why is he afraid of her? So this is the mystery that nobody can understand except devotees of Krishna. And what kind of devotees? Pure devotees. Only pure devotees can understand this mystery about the personality of Godhead. So, whole process of bhakti Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyam. Entire Vedic literature is only meant for understanding who is Krishna. But Krishna as the personality of Godhead is the most confidential aspect of the Vedic literature. Throughout the Vedas, 99.99999% of the Vedas, Absolute Truth described as Brahman and Paramatma. That's all. There is no description in most of the Vedic literature of the Absolute Truth as personality of Godhead. So where it is described, some few places. The personality of Godhead is described in his personal feature as Narayana, as Vishnu, even as different other incarnations. Vamana, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, extraordinary incarnations. But all those incarnations, the Supreme Lord appears for these three purposes. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chidushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. He regularly appears. Every yuga he appears. Every time there is a calamity happening somewhere in the universe, he appears to protect his devotee. But Krishna Leela is mysterious, is very mystical, very mystical. So that Krishna Leela, Shukadeva Goswami is explaining the Absolute Truth as the personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is actually performing these Leelas not directly every time killing the demon, protecting the devotee or devotees, killing the demons, is re-establishing various questions of re-establishing principles when he is running in fear of Mother Yashoda. What religious principle is it? To run away out of fear from the mother, is it a religious principle? No, it's not a religious principle. So Shukadeva Goswami is saying, no, that is actually some secret to be understood about what is bhakti, what is devotional service. Mother Yashoda is engaged in serving Krishna out of bhakti, out of devotion. And that devotion is of varieties. Different devotees have different kinds of devotion for Krishna. So all those details are there in the 10th canto, especially. So that is what Rupa Goswami is explaining as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the details of Bhakti Yoga. Especially the details of Bhakti Rasa. Bhakti Rasam Sindhu is, of course, this kind of details of Bhakti Yoga, but the result of practicing Bhakti Yoga and achieving perfection is you are able to taste Bhakti Rasa, which is of so many varieties, which is so relishable, that only some confidential devotees actually can relish, because the Bhakti Yoga itself is practiced by very, 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 very few transcendentalists. Because only the confidential portion of the Vedas are revealing the Absolute Truth as the personality of Godhead. And even among that personality of Godhead, revelation, Krishna is even more confidential. Confidential of confidential. Most confidential. Therefore, even Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaking Bhagavad Gita, he is speaking the most confidential knowledge of the Vedas. So Bhagavad Gita is not ordinary literature. It's a very special literature. Krishna showing the universal form. Krishna showing universal form is special. Otherwise, the universal form is an object of meditation because the universal form is present in this material world as Virat Purusha. Virat Purusha. It is one of the forms of Garbhodakshai Vishnu who creates the whole universe. Brahma creates only the living entities. Prajapati. Prajapati is the creator of the living beings, giving their material bodies. But what about the living space? The planets, the rivers, the trees, all the living spaces for the living entities to be created as a place of residence for them when they are created. That is made by Virat Purusha. Virat Purusha. He generates, he fabricates the material world itself, the planets and the different diversity in the planets. Out of the material energy, just combination of material energy, that's all. And he does it simply by his will, that's all. So, that description is being given in the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita in brief and Bhagavatam in detail. So, these two scriptures, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, are enough for you to study and realize the absolute truth. And here, the most important description in the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam is about Bhakti Yoga. And in Bhakti Yoga also, the revelation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Krishna. Because there are other bhakti literatures which describe, Matsya Purana describes the incarnation of the Lord as Matsya, Kurma Purana describes Kurma, Narsimha Purana describes Narsimha. So many literatures are there. Other literatures are also there. This is not the only bhakti literature. But this Bhagavatam describes Krishna in detail. The most detail is available in the Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita, among the Upanishads, the most detailed description of Krishna is in Bhagavad Gita, among the Upanishads. So therefore, these two literatures are very, 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 very confidential, very important, very, very significant. These literatures. That's why I study this very carefully. I'll stop it. Nantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada.